And even though I knew you were out there, that there was most likely a card and that you were cooking me Mother's Day pancakes and you were doing all these things, the fact that you hadn't said Happy Mother's Day to me just like broke something inside me. Like the fact that that wasn't the first thing that you said to me and that you didn't acknowledge that in that moment just really fucking hurt. And when you left the room, I just got back under the covers with Oshi and I just bawled.
Yo, 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 lovers. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Sex, Love, and Everything in Between. We're the O'Neills. You're here with Meg Jacob.
And this is the place we have really uncensored conversations about sex, intimacy, and relationships. We're super excited you're here. Enjoy this episode.
Hey, lovers.
Oh, God, I can't talk. Hello, lovers.
Hello, lovers. Hello. It's Frank Walker here. This is not an ad. This is the podcast.
Oh, God. Hi.
Hey, how are you feeling?
I'm great.
This is our fourth attempt at starting the podcast.
Our third attempt at starting the podcast, and we just needed to connect. And Jacob held my hand and kissed me, and now I'm more in my body. So
stay there.
Our hearts are here. Are yours? Are you here in the room with us?
Are you even here right now? What are you doing? Tell us your deepest, darkest secrets.
Oh, maybe we should have an episode like that. Like that guy we used to follow that. You know, the guy that has
Oh,
secrets.
yes. Let's do that. Let's just send us your deepest, darkest secrets and we'll judge you. We'll do a judgment episode.
Who was
How
that?
to judge.
He's the JT Firstman or JS First? Yeah, funny.
Very funny.
Okay, anyway, hi.
I'm wondering why we're still talking about this. Let's dive right in. No context.
Okay.
Says you.
No, anyway. Okay,
We're not starting this another time. This is the final edit.
This is the chaos that's
This is who we are.
This is who we are. We really are. Okay, well, we're here to tell a story.
It was Mother's Day on Sunday and things didn't go to plan.
Oh.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. So we want to tell the story of my Mother's Day, one unfolded. It was my first Mother's Day. Not what I expected, not what I wanted it to be, not how I wanted to feel. I didn't even realize I was putting like expectations on this day, but this has happened. This is something that has arisen for me before on birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
Like this happened on my 30th where, you know, I felt like I didn't feel special enough and I wanted you to, you know, have planned more or like gotten me gifts that you'd been thinking about and planning for like 6 months. I wanted to see that you had been thinking about this day and preparing for this day, not just for a week. I wanted to like know that you'd been thinking and preparing for it for like 6 months. Mm-hmm. Even though the year before you had thrown me a huge festival. And
I think you're going to have a lot of realizations on this podcast.
I think I will. No, but I think that's why this story is important because
A key thing is, I've got heaps to say on this later.
and I was just talking to a friend about this who had a similar experience, not on Mother's Day, but something else. And we were both talking about like, we both have phenomenal men that show the fuck up for us and do so much for us. And still there are some times where we don't feel special enough and this yearning to feel special and like the only fucking girl in the world and that we're just like so deeply looked after and celebrated. Sometimes we don't feel that even though our men are so fucking phenomenal. And I think this is why this conversation is important because even if your man really, really fucking wants to love you well and like for you, you appreciate me every fucking day. You show up so incredibly. There have been so many moments in our relationship where you have surprised me and like, yeah, just, you know, given me the most epic gifts or surprised things and organized things. And I've felt so incredibly special. And then there's still moments where I don't feel that way. Not necessarily because of anything you've done or like you've fucked up. It's just that yearning is so deep. And I think why this conversation is so important, that it's important that we as women, you know, feel like we can bring that. We can be witnessed in the part of us that wants to feel so fucking special and wants to feel so taken care of and wants to feel so cherished and, you know, looked after and celebrated. So that's the kind of conversation we're going towards.
Amazing.
So on Sunday, I woke up. Like I said, I didn't realize how important my first Mother's Day was going to feel until I woke up on that day, and I was like, like this feels really special. And you were already out in the kitchen. You'd gotten up early. I think you'd gotten up like 3 or 4 hours beforehand. And you were out in the kitchen cooking pancakes, and we were having your sister over because she lives down the road and her husband was away. So it was like looking after her on Mother's Day too. And then when I woke up, we potty our son. We put him on this little potty, and I was pottying him and I needed your help. And so I yelled out to you and you came in, and we hadn't seen each other that morning yet. And I yelled out to you and you came in, and then you helped me. And then as soon as you finished helping me, you went back out to the kitchen. And even though I knew you were out there, that there was most likely a card and that you were cooking me Mother's Day pancakes and you were doing all these things, the fact that you hadn't said Happy Mother's Day to me just like broke something inside me. Like the fact that that wasn't the first thing that you said to me and that you didn't acknowledge that in that moment just really fucking hurt. And when you left the room, I just got back under the covers with Oshi and I just bawled. Like I not just like cried a little bit, I like wailed. Like I was wailing, crying. Yeah. And then a little bit of context. I'd also, before I really realized this day was important to me, I'd also filled the day with lots of things. So it was a friend of ours' birthday, and I'd, you know, said yes to organizing something, which then I didn't feel like doing. So I had to kind of cancel, and we had to reschedule something in the afternoon. And then we were having your sisters over, and
we'd been out the night before.
And like suddenly I just realized I did end up bleeding for the first time since becoming a mother the next day. So it all becomes very clear to me, like why I was feeling so ultra sensitive on the Sunday too. But, I think I woke up being like, oh, like, fuck, I don't actually want to see anyone today. And I just want to be looked after by you. And I just want to be alone in the home with you and our son. And I just want you to take care of me. And I just want you to celebrate me. And I didn't realize I wanted that. And then I couldn't really get out of the things that I'd already said yes to, right? Well, I could, but I didn't choose to. Yeah, so that's why that like you not saying Happy Mother's Day to me then just felt like so like, oh, you didn't say Happy Mother's Day and now I'm going to be at breakfast with other people and now I'm going to go and hang out with people in the afternoon and you're not going to have any space to look after me and I've ruined this day for myself and it's not what I planned and it's not how I want to feel and and then when I was bawling and wailing, I hear one of your sisters come in and then I'm like, oh, now I don't even have like time and space to like, you know, come back into our hearts together and be witnessed in this because that's so important to me when I am feeling something to have you witness me. And like, you know, your sisters were here, one of their little sons was here. So it was just like, it was a lot. It was a lot. Where do we go next?
Oh, I thought I was doing all the right things. Like I hopped up early so I could go get fresh flowers and buy all the stuff for pancakes and come back. And like I was in the kitchen cooking, like I had the speaker ready to play music when you came out. And my whole idea was like you would come out and I'd go Happy Mother's Day. And we'd like, you'd see the flowers and then you'd sit down, you'd read your card and all of that. And that's not at all. So this is where like the wires I think got crossed. I was like, oh, cool. I was so fixated on how I wanted to deliver it that I probably wasn't really aware of, you know, the simple, or I missed the little things where I was trying to like really make it special. I was like, oh, I have the pancakes ready, this done, that done, this done, I got the coffee machine on, I got the music, okay, cool. I was sort of setting the scene, but all you really needed in that moment was me to come in and kiss you on the forehead and say Happy Mother's Day.
You're the best mom in the world.
The best mum in the world.
I needed that one.
Yeah.
And I think this is why this conversation is so important, that, you know, someone can be, you know, loving us in one way, but then when it doesn't quite land, how important it is to then be in conversation around that so that there's not resentment there as well.
Would you also say that the emotion that you were feeling was not just in that moment, but for many versions of you that never got celebrated or acknowledged
Totally.
or felt special?
I often tell this story, and you know this story, that when I was 13, it was my first year of high school. My birthday was on a school day.
What year did you have your first bleed?
The year after.
The year after, so 14.
14.
Yeah. Don't know why. I was just like trying to, like, you know, you had your first, you bled for the first.
Yeah.
I was thinking, yeah.
But I was 13. My family weren't that great. Not that great. But like, you know how like every year your mum would make a cake? My
Yes.
mum didn't. We weren't a cake family. Like sometimes it could be someone's birthday and we wouldn't have a cake. And some people would think that's probably horrifying.
I still think that's weird. Yeah, I find that bizarre.
And so I think I don't know if there was, we would always have like birthday parties and family. And I think there was like, I probably had a birthday party a few days beforehand with all my family. There would have been a cake there and everything. But on my particular birthday, I think I got home from school, we had dinner, there wasn't really a cake. And then after dinner, my parents were like, oh, we're going to go on a walk, because they would, you know, walk sometimes in the evenings. And I remember going to my room and just bawling. And I never told anyone, or I never like showed anyone that I was upset about that. But the fact that like that night wasn't about me, and I didn't feel celebrated, and I didn't feel like anyone was going out of their way to really like make me feel special, really hurt. And this has come up in our relationship before on birthdays, and, you know, on Mother's Day, where it's that like little Maggie that felt like, oh, like, you know, I want you to be thinking about, I want this day to be about me for every second of the day. I want it all to be I want this whole day to just be about me, and I want to be celebrated. I want you to be thinking about how to make me feel special in every moment. That includes when you first see me, and it's my special day. So what you should do is you should acknowledge, hey, it's your special day. Happy Mother's Day. And so it wasn't, this was like, this is something I'm bringing into the relationship. And again, this is so important that we acknowledge this, and this is why our own inner work is so important as individuals in partnership, because we get to notice, what am I bringing in here? Like, yes, is this really about you not saying Happy Mother's Day? Or, yes, that's what's kind of unfolded in this moment. But that's not just about that. That's about, little Maggie that didn't fully feel seen and celebrated and acknowledged in that moment, or probably many moments before that too. So that was what I was bringing into that day. And then once I came out, like I said, because your sisters were here, like I was really emotional, and I let myself cry. Like they hugged me and I cried. But also I didn't really feel like, you know, and it didn't feel present in the moment to bring that through. And I probably wasn't aware of that right then and there. And we, you know, you did make the pancakes, and you I could see you were like putting on songs that I loved and looking at me and like being like, look, this song, and I love this song. You feel good?
Tell us about you. I'm putting on all your favorite songs.
You were like, I could just tell how hard you were trying, which was so beautiful. And like, but physically, it's like I couldn't receive it. It's like my body was so closed, and I was trying, and I just felt like these walls up, which is so uncommon for me now in our partnership. You know, I used to feel that a lot, but I know how to take myself into the posture of openness quite quickly. And, you know, for most of the day I was in deep closure and deep kind of guardedness and tension. And so I felt that. And even like we were out, you know, in the kitchen after kitchen, you were kind of cuddling me, and I just wanted, I think I was telling you, I'm like, I'm sorry, I feel so closed right now. I want to open, but I'm just struggling to open. Yeah. And I think then after they left, we ended up going on a walk.
That didn't go well either.
No. And this is where I really started to just be like, oh, like, why am I closed? Because my thing was like, you've done the fucking pancakes. You bought me flowers. You wrote a really beautiful card from Osh. You like had gotten his hand and or done your own drawings?
No, that was his hand. I put the pen in his hand and he just like was like, ah.
So Jacob had put the pen in Oshi's hand and like he'd drawn it on the card and Jacob had said like, you know, from Oshi. And like there were so many beautiful things and yet it's like I couldn't receive it. It's like I wasn't letting myself, or I just couldn't physically receive that and let myself be grateful for that. And so I was just being like, why can't I open to this and why can't I receive that? So when we went on a walk, I was just really expressing to you that, oh, like I can feel this part of me that wanted you to be thinking of this day for months and months. And I knew, and even now saying this sounds so it feels really vulnerable, but this is the truth, is that I knew you'd gone out of the house early and gotten those things. And obviously you get flowers on the day. But there was part of me that was like wanted you to have been planning a present or planning something for like months in advance, or I needed to see that you'd been thinking about this day, and you probably were, right? The pancakes, everything. But it's like I was wanting you to have been thinking of this day and planning something, and for me to see that you'd been planning and thinking about, you know, how to make me feel special. I needed evidence that you'd been thinking about that for months for me to be able to feel special and for me to be able to really deeply receive that. And then I was telling you on the walk, I'm like, and I was just bawling and being like, I feel like a crazy bitch right now. And I feel so ungrateful. And you made me pancakes and you bought me flowers, but still I feel like I wanted more. And it was really uncomfortable because on that walk, I was still just like, I don't know. I think I was fighting with the part of me that day that wanted more and wanted to feel really special. And I was just like in tension around that. I was also in a lot of tension around then having to go and do stuff with other people later in the day and like not really feeling like I wanted to do that and just wanting to like, you know, be with you. So I think my body was holding a lot, but
we've had a lot of weekends that were filled as well, like with family, like all good things, but there was not really like, this was our first weekend at home and you so artfully planned things on both days, which is funny. It's almost like you set yourself up to open this wound to work with it.
And I think a lot of what I was feeling that day too was angry with myself for planning too much. And I was almost like a people pleasery planning. And I love the humans that we saw that day and we were around.
Yeah, we had an awesome time.
We did have beautiful times with the humans that were there. But this was just like the undercurrent of what was happening for me. And I realized that I wanted Sunday to be about me fully. And I made it about, before Sunday, I made it about other people. So, you know, your sister didn't have a husband to be with on Mother's Day. So I was like, come around, we'll do Mother's Day together. Where maybe actually I didn't want that because I would just want it to be. And then it was someone else's birthday and, you know, I was like, oh, let's plan something for her. And, you know, and I got so excited about the week leading up. But then when it got to the day, I was like, I just want this. I just want you.
That's exactly nice guy syndrome. You would.
It was like I was.
You were literally abandoning yourself for everyone else because you were actually using your empathy in a really unconscious way. That's actually very low vibrational.
But I think that's why I had a lot of anger with myself on Sunday. And again, it was like a feeling that I haven't felt in a long time. That feeling of just being so angry when you've said yes to something and you really don't want to do it anymore. But then it's also, you're in a place of like, you know, it doesn't actually feel freeing to say no then. Yeah, and I don't get that a lot anymore. I'm very good with my boundaries. I'm very good at being like, no, that's not an authentic yes for me. But there was some things, it was like I was planning these things for people and, you know, doing things for people because I wanted them to feel good. Anyway, so that was a lot of what I was feeling that day too. And it just was, there was just a lot of energy. And like I said, I bled the next day. And so my deep sensitivity and like my desire to be just with us as a family made so much more sense. And like the heightenedness of the whole day and like cause I was crying and I'm an emotional woman. I cry a lot. This was like wailing tears. There were moments where I dropped to my knees in the bedroom and just wailed and wailed and wailed. And it was a lot.
It was.
Where do we want to go from here?
I think what I really want, and this is something that I've spoken about this so many times, but like there's a difference between like being of service and creating significance. And on these special days, it's like significance is what you want to feel. You want to feel significant. You want to feel as though you are the only person that exists on that day, and your desires are the only desires that exist, and everything else is void. Everything else is irrelevant. The only thing there is you are there to be the center of attention. And this is something that you can't just do once in your lifetime or once in your relationship. That's why when you spoke about, the birthdays, we threw a huge 29th for you, which everyone was like, oh, is Meg 30? No, it's her 29th. And I spent so much time organizing that, and then I sort of set the tone. And then your 30th, we had all of our friends over. We had a cake. We all wrote down amazing things about you. We sat around but it wasn't. But what I realized is like, you can't just do significance once and then just ride that until it dies, and then oh shit, I got to do, now I have to do it rather than I get to do it. So realistically, in that moment, it's like, yeah, there wasn't enough significance. It wasn't that I wasn't doing great things, but I hadn't tuned into what would feel significant and what would feel appropriate to celebrate the role that you've stepped into as mother. Where have I not actually felt into the depth of this? So it was a real lack of consciousness on my behalf. But realistically, it was like, cool, all right, this means something to my love. This means something to you. And I missed the mark. And there's no right or wrong. It's just, yeah, cool. Fuck that one up. And I refuse to not be given the opportunity to do better. So I can still love you, I can still nourish you, and I can still show up for you, and I can still create significance even if I fuck that one up. And I'm okay with that. It doesn't feel good in my body. And yeah, I can feel frustrated and I can feel like, I'm not enough, or God, why, yeah, she's ungrateful. Can't she see that can't she see that I've just gotten back I haven't taken any time off after retreat. I've shown up. I've been really present. I've been looking after, and I can create all of that. But the truth is that you didn't feel special. Full stop. Okay. Let's ride this. It's because it's going to take a little bit of time to move through this. And that's what's here right now. And I can do better. And if I bring any other story in, all I'm doing is perpetuating or avoiding the feeling of getting it wrong. And I got it wrong. And that's it. Like it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It just means that on that day, I got it wrong. I still showed up and did what I thought was the right thing, but I didn't actually. And this is the difference between polarity as a formula and polarity as a practice. It's like I wasn't practicing. I didn't breathe down into my fucking balls. I didn't feel and what's in here? I just came in playing my fucking flute like a dickhead. And I was excited to be, and I didn't get received in the way that I thought I would. I came back home and you were super sensitive and you were overwhelmed and, you had a great time, but obviously, I wanted to give you space. So I came in I probably came in feeling like I owed you something. But I also wanted to be celebrated and acknowledged for what I'd just done with my work. And I felt really powerful. And that I didn't actually take my time to acknowledge myself. And I probably came in expecting something from you and I didn't get it. And then I was just like, I hadn't really landed the plane.
And Jacob's talking about coming home from his 5-day retreat.
Yeah. And saying that the house was incredibly clean, which is like, that was amazing.
And I think and this is what also felt uncomfortable about me feeling that is there was part of me that was like, I think I've held the expectation of you're really going to celebrate me because I've been, look at all I've done. I was with our son for 5 days and I cleaned the house and the house was perfect when you came back. And, I didn't make you feel wrong for leaving. And, all of that, there was part of me that was like, so celebrate me.
I didn't make you feel wrong for leaving. So.
But that was uncomfortable to be with, to see the conditions I was putting on that. But I just want to circle back to what you said before around you were really saying I've got it wrong, which I would say no, but then also to a certain degree, yeah, the desire there was to feel like, and I love that you spoke about significance, because that is it. And I'm sure every woman listening to this podcast right now is feeling that. Like, yeah, you want to feel significant. You want there to be an act of significance that felt. And this is what I was saying about like me knowing you went out that morning and the actual desire was, I wanted you to be thinking about it for 6 months. There's the significance piece of, it's almost like I wanted it to be blood, sweat and tears. I wanted this to be a little like, I know that you've had to put something on the line to celebrate me. I don't want it to be easy. I wanted you to like have to plan it or be thinking about it or, I wanted there to be like an intentionality. And so I think, and I'm not just saying that from me, I think truly every woman, and I've worked with so many women and I've been in discussion with many friends around this, that this is something that we as women deeply crave, that men I don't think do. Like on a man's, but like as a woman, I think we want to feel like the most special girl in the world and like something that's so deeply significant and to feel so special. And yes, I think a man wants significance, but not in this like, there's a different texture to it, would you say? I don't know how to describe
Australian culture, men don't celebrate themselves, therefore they avoid celebration. So any reflection of celebration or acknowledgement is uncomfortable for men, so therefore we avoid it.
So would you say you desire like that same level of significance that I have?
No.
But deep underneath, even under your conditioning, do you feel like you desire that? Or no,
I haven't found
like
it yet.
Yeah. And you would say that there's a difference between what the quality you see in me and other women of that yearning to be seen and witnessed and made significant on those days is something that you see more in women.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I 1000% agree.
I think, and this is probably just where I'm at, but like for me, like on those days where it's like I get to just, like, I just want to be left alone. I don't want to have to, like, that's really it. Like,
you want a space of no demand.
Yeah, I just want to be like, not have to think. I want to not have any plans. I want to wake up and I want to go and get breakfast wherever the fuck we get it. I don't want to have a booking at a restaurant. I don't want to have anything. I probably just want to go and buy steak and then come home and cook it myself. I probably want to hang out in the hammock. I most likely just want to do nothing or have the freedom to do whatever the fuck I want. I want there to be zero demand or zero timing. I want it to be timeless and spaceless.
Yes. And like even on your birthday this year, I knew the greatest gift I could give you in that. Like usually I want on my birthday, I want you to plan everything. I want you to have planned something, you know, for months in advance.
So guys, do you want the rundown of what's happening for Mother's Day 2026? We are flying to Bora Bora.
Stop it. Really? But yeah, I knew like you just wanted to wake up and do what you wanted. And I knew my practice that day was to just go with your flow. We went to the camping store. We went to, where else did we go? We
just wandered around.
We wandered around shopping
aimlessly.
malls. We did it. And I just knew that was my greatest gift to you, to not try and
get us anywhere,
speed you up or hurry you up or get anywhere. It was just like, where do you want to go now? What do you want to do now? Where do you want to go now? Right? Where I'm like, no, I don't want to make any decisions. I want you to be like, and then we're doing this, and then I've got a surprise for you, and then we're doing this. So yeah. So I feel, do you have something to say?
I was gonna say, like, that is the gift. It's like, I'm giving you what I would be like, why would anyone want this? Like, that sounds like if someone gave that to me, I'd be frustrated if someone was like taking me around, like, this is where we're going next. It's like, oh fuck, I just want to feel I just want to just wander. Also, I really want to like acknowledge like the parenthood journey. If you are trying to really live and breathe a conscious lifestyle, like you have so many more conscious decisions to make throughout the start of parenthood, that for me, I've been really like, it's been quite confronting to feel like just how in suspension I've been around, like, okay, I want my business to go here and I want to make sure that, Ocean has the best upbringing and all of these things I didn't get. And then you've got to come back into the moment and then be present as well. So it's this constant ping ponging of like the greater vision of my life and then back to the present moment, the greater vision of my life, and then back to the present moment. And the weeks and the months sort of blur rather than actually be like, okay, what's happening this week? Okay, what's happening this month? okay, what do I need to plan for? What do I need to be ready for? It's like, okay, I know in 5 to 10 years, I'm going to create this amazing movement in this business. And then I'm coming back to the moment. All right, O'Shea needs me to look at him and make sure that he doesn't fall off the edge of the bed. And I've got to be right here, right now. And then I'm going back into the big vision. And it's almost like a form of hyperventilation where I lose, I'm either like right here or I'm out there. So to find myself in the middle ground where it's like, okay, cool. Oh, Mother's Day's this month. Oh, Meg's birthday's coming up. Oh, Valentine's Day. Oh, anniversary. Oh, Christmas. Oh, Easter. Oh, all of a sudden there's all of these things that are just sort of arriving without me having the awareness of them getting closer. And we're back. We just had to have a little break. Things got a little clunky. Because it's a vulnerable conversation, isn't it, my love?
I get really vulnerable when you talk about just like, even though I wrote about this on Instagram, I just feel like there's an
intimacy here.
And there was like a chaos to Sunday that I don't feel like it was very chaotic. And even usually we are very quick in our relationship when there's something there to clear it. And that was not the case on Sunday because now we have a child. We'd filled our day with people and things, so we didn't really have the space to kind of come back and clear as quickly as possible. And then it took us 3 hours to put our son down, and both of us were just kind of like a bit broken by the end of the day.
That was the hardest day of my life.
Actually?
Yeah. That was the hardest parenting day, but also one of the hardest days of my life. Like normally I can have capacity, but like I felt like holding Ocean, him crying, and then seeing you cry, and then him, on the boob, and then getting off and cry. I was delirious by the end of it. I was so exhausted, and I realized I was like, I'm at my capacity right now. I'm beyond capacity, and I want to be able to give more to you and to Ocean. I want to be able to show up, but right now I'm like literally drowning.
And I think with that, and then I was feeling that intensify of like, I want more from you. And then when you went to sleep, you didn't acknowledge Happy Mother's Day or you had a great day, like, or anything like that. So like, even though I could witness that you were at capacity and you didn't really have much else to give, me taking offense to that or me still wanting more from you. And it was messy and chaotic. And yeah, I think we had to stop the podcast before because I was feeling a bit like, I don't know, there was just like a bit of vulnerability here in being witnessed in that. Yeah. And also just like sometimes when we share so much of our life and we share so much of what goes down in our relationship, and sometimes when it feels clunkier or there's not like, sometimes it just feels like clunky and like vulnerable to bring it through.
My chest has hurt pretty much this whole podcast. Really? Yeah. Because it's like, I'm not perfect. Is essentially that's what we're saying. It's like up until now, our parenting journey has been pretty fucking awesome. And then that day of all days, fucking Mother's Day, when it should have been the pinnacle, the spectacle. Like you want that day to be the special one, and it's meant to be the special one, and it felt like the exact opposite of special, all the way till the very end.
And I think that's what was really challenging for me too, because like I said, we usually clear things. Always, we never really go to bed with anything not feeling really clear and really liberated. And now with a child, sometimes, that was probably the first night where we were really in that. And like you'd fallen asleep and I was still up with him, but you'd been with him for hours. But yeah, it was clunky. But I think also, and then like to kind of bring this all through, in the morning I got up and I came out to you and you were in the kitchen and you just like, I think you wrapped your arms around me and we hugged and I said, can we redo Mother's Day? And you were like, I'm already on it. And I think this is the piece I want to really like really drive home about this conversation is that when and you're so impeccable at this. And even though earlier you were like, I got it wrong. Like, yes, like you didn't meet me in the level of significance that I was really deeply aching for. And what you are so impeccable at is not taking things personally and not making me feel wrong. And that was so vulnerable on me on Sunday to kind of be like, I feel like a crazy bitch. And like, I feel like I'm feeling so awful for not being able to be so grateful for what you've done. And there's part of me that wanted it to be more of a spectacle and wanted more significance and just feeling so messy in that. And yes, there was a few little pieces where you were like, oh, this makes me, you know, you were feeling like not good enough and, you know, these pieces. But yeah, really your ability to, just be like, okay, can I have another go of that? You know, I'm not going to make you feel wrong for, well, fuck, look how much I fucking tried. And how can this be not good enough for you? Like, you listened, and even though you'd done so much and you had put in effort, you still loved me in my yearn for more. You still loved me in my, oh my gosh, you want to feel so deeply special. Like, okay, I want to love you in that. I want to give that to you. Let me try again. Like, that was everything. Even though Sunday was like so fucking chaotic and a lot of emotion, that was everything. That, hey, can I have another go of that?
Yeah. And if we don't allow it or make space for it, and like I said, yeah, I got it wrong. Like, that's not, like, I'm not saying that was good or bad. I'm saying, yeah, cool, got it wrong. Let me do better. Let me do better. And that's what I feel is like, if I had have come back to you and said, but yeah, but look, I did this, you're actually wrong for feeling what you're feeling, and I shame you and I invite you to suppress that 13-year-old Maggie who locked herself in a room and didn't let anyone else see her in her sadness, in her feelings of, I guess, abandonment and whatever the other word you use, trauma-informed word you use. It's like, yeah, you felt shit because you didn't feel special. Awesome. And if I had my finger on the pulse, if I had have been breathing, and if I had have been conscious, and if everything had have gone perfectly, if I had have had some transition time after retreat, and if we had have had more meals cooked, and we could have flowed a bit easier, and if this and that, and if all of the other things had have lined up, that wouldn't have happened. But it did. And it happened so we could see what was there and then choose to do better.
Yeah. And I think,
and then time will tell whether I do better or not. You know, I then get an opportunity to be more conscious and to deliver moments of significance to you. And remember, fuck yeah, you're still my wife. You're still someone that I want to celebrate and acknowledge. It's like, oh, we've got a kid now, yes, and we've got all these extra levels of responsibility, but I don't want to deny you that because we've now got more responsibility. I still want that to be an important part of our life. And noted, cool. Let me get the calendar out. Let me be more organized. Let me use this moment of getting it wrong to create a structure where I can really, really honor you and love you in the way that you desire to be loved. What great information.
Yeah, I think this is something like when I shared this story on Instagram the other night, and I was speaking about how I really feel that this is a desire so many women have to feel really special. And yet we live in a world that conditions us as women to act cool and act as if we don't want much and be so averse to seeming high maintenance or too much. And so even though I truly believe this is an ache and a yearn so many women carry in their bodies to feel special, to feel significant, to be like deeply celebrated and looked after in that way, so many women are holding that, but then pretending that they don't want that. Yet simultaneously hoping that their partner gives them that without them having to express it. Right. And so, you know, I think this is also just a permission slip that often this part of me has come forward in relationship from being courageous enough in moments where I haven't felt met or I haven't felt celebrated to bring that and to also trust that you could handle that and to trust that I don't want to seem high maintenance. And like, you know, one of our stories is that when Jacob proposed, I didn't like the original ring.
This was nothing.
Mother's Day, not being upset with Mother's Day. Like that was huge. And that was also so healing for the part of me that was like not wanting to would rather resent you silently than say something. Like I could not live my life looking at a ring that I felt resentful of you for, right? I had to say something so that part of our relationship was clear because I couldn't ignore that it wasn't the one that I wanted, or like it just didn't feel right. So, you know, this owning this part as a woman, the part of us that wants to feel special, that's really important information that we get to offer to our partner. If you want to feel claimed, if you want to feel really looked after and significant in your relationship, oftentimes, I would say majority of the time, all times, it's going to take you being witnessed in that desire, bringing that desire forth. Hey, I want to feel special. Hey, I want to feel like you've been like thinking about this day for a long time. Sometimes it might sound cute like that. Other times it might sound, you know,
like a banshee,
like
a wailing banshee.
You're batshit crazy.
I also want to acknowledge that if it brings up in your man his I'm not enough, that's his wound. That's his shit to work with. That's his trigger. And if you're not triggering each other in some way, shape or form in your relationship, then you guys aren't really being fucking honest with each other. Like, honestly. And I'm not saying that you need to be constantly like projecting or like pretty much like playing table tennis, like, okay, cool, that's your projection. No, that's my trigger. I'm going to own that. No, that's yours. And you're constantly like hyper vigilant. You like be bold in love and fall flat on your face and have these experiences together.
Bless you.
And allow your relationship to crack you open deeper to a place that healing happens just because you had the courage to go there. That's when like, yeah, cool, the reading the books and all that sort of stuff, that's all just pregame. And then moments like Mother's Day, like that felt, I'd rather run a fucking marathon than do that day again like that. That was really fucking hard to be with the part of me that felt like, fuck, I'm not good enough for her. Fuck. And like things came up that I didn't think would come up that I thought I'd dealt with. And now that I'm in a new role as father, it's like, oh, all of my same fucking stories are here. All of this bullshit is here where I make up the belief that no one's grateful for what I do. No one acknowledges me. No one this, no one that. And that's not true. That's just me playing into I'm not good enough. And then when that I'm not good enough comes on, I then get to be the victim, and then I get to like blame you for how I'm feeling. When the truth is like right now, Jacob, you weren't conscious. You weren't playing at the depth that you know you're capable of because life is asking you for more. Welcome to the start of your fucking life again. Welcome to another version of another season. Let's go. Breathe. Slow down. Where are you trying to get to? You've got a woman and a child that like are the best things in the world. You've got a job that you love, like be here. Be here. And I want you to be able to bring all of you to me. I want the things that feel silly or that you say you shouldn't feel or that, why am I feeling this way? It's like that's, if you're not bringing those, where are they going? Where are you taking them? Most likely suppressing them, which is only going to mean that they come out later.
And I think this is such a beautiful reminder that there's always like parts of us, you know, to deepen into. And I would say I'm a very fully expressed woman, and there's so much. So I would usually not have much to contend with when I bring my desires forth or bring what I want forth. And yet still there was part of me in this particular experience that felt too much and that felt like I was asking for too much and felt high maintenance and felt embarrassed and ashamed for feeling that way. And so, yeah, this is the work. I'm still in the work, you know, even though I teach this work and I've been on this path and really in this practice of this full expression, and you do welcome so much of my expression, that this still felt tender. And may there always be things that feel tender and a little uncomfortable. Like that's the growth edge of relationship. And that's then the doorway for deeper intimacy and getting to be loved in deeper ways.
The three things that I'm taking away from this conversation and this experience.
Yes.
No one's above the work.
Oh, love that one.
Everyone has an edge that feels uncomfortable. And have the courage to bring what's alive for you and the grace to allow yourself and your partner to do better.
Yes.
I think those three things are so powerful. Are so powerful. And if you really give yourself over to those and like almost like let those three things humble you, then you just become a person who's practicing. I'm a practitioner of life, of love, And I'm still learning because I'm a human. And any point I put myself above humanity, I've lost touch with reality.
I love that. Okay. Thank you for this conversation.
It's felt like just the right dose of chaos in this one.
Honestly, it's felt very chaotic for me, but
I think we'll continue to have this conversation. I think this is this is an ongoing conversation. I think this can't be, I think we're going to have to keep as many times as we need to bring this to the podcast and normalize these kinds of conversations. I think this is a very real experience that a lot of men and women have, and why relationships inevitably fail when more responsibility comes online, because we forget to actually be with what's there and make space for what wants to come through, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent.
And I just, for the women listening that have really resonated with the desire to feel significant and the desire to be made to feel significant and the desire to feel really fucking special, especially on these days, I want you to really be honest with yourself. Have you let yourself be witness in that? Have you brought that desire forth? Right? Or are you just crossing your fingers and silently expecting or hoping or wishing that your partner does that, even though you've never expressed that that's something that would feel really delicious or feel really important? And in the times where it really breaks your fucking heart that you're not made to feel significant or you're not made to feel special, can you be witnessed in that instead of putting up your walls and making your partner guess what's wrong or just like pushing him away? Can you open your heart and trust that, it might be fucking messy, especially if this is the first time you're bringing that, right? Even I've been witnessed in this desire many times, and still Sunday was messy and it was a bit chaotic, but we moved through it and we got through it and we're clear, right? But like, can you be witnessed in that? Vulnerability is the doorway to deeper intimacy and deeper connection. If you desire to be made special, it's going to feel vulnerable to ask for that. And can you also feel and be with the parts of you that are ashamed that you want that feel too much for desiring that, for desiring more from your man, for desiring to feel like, an absolute fucking princess or queen or just like the most fucking special woman on the planet on Mother's Day or on your birthday or on Valentine's Day? Like, if that's a true desire, like own that first in your body. Let yourself be the woman that owns that, that deeply owns that. What if it wasn't shameful? What if you didn't feel shameful to desire that or feel high maintenance? Like, I know I don't feel shame around being a high maintenance woman anymore. I'm a motherfucking high maintenance woman. Wouldn't you agree?
And I am a maintenance man. But I also indulge in moments of significance. I don't just maintain, I also indulge in moments of significance, because every now and then, frequently, at least 4 times a year, there is moments of significance that are required to remind my woman of her magnificence.
Well, then I was thinking like, then all the days now that I'm a mother, birthdays, Valentine's Day, anniversary, like there's some big things.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. I've been doing the math. It's in the budget. It's in the spreadsheet that you will never see, but you will feel.
I'll feel so.
The depth of surrender due to my sacred spreadsheet.
Yeah. And that means if I want you thinking about those days 6 months in advance, you'll always be planning at least for 2 of those days in every moment.
My world revolves
around for significance.
Planning for significance. Don't worry about the dishes.
Okay. We
go on to Hawaii.
We got to go, but we love you and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for being here for these conversations.
We love you. Bye.
Peace.